What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Nerd Gen Report. I'm your host, Pablo, and joining me, as always, is Mr. Brian Schultz. Brian, I called out two movies. I think in one of our shows where I think most anticipated movies, I mentioned, I think my number one, actually.
It's your number one. This is your number one movie. I said it's just for you when it came out.
And then I've called out, this movie can make $1 billion, even though it's the possibilities of what this movie can be. I've only imagined it. And now the reports are that people who thought similarly in that, is it possible to make this look dope? And people can't stop talking about it, whomever has seen it. That's why I say this movie is going to hit $1 billion. And these come out of the CinemaCon event that occurred over the week. A lot of stuff that came out of there, but we're going to be talking about my number one most anticipated movie, Naked Gun, and He-Man.
So we get an actual trailer, and I sent it to you, and then I actually was like, this actually looks pretty funny. I was like, I haven't paid attention to the news flow in this because it's not IP.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't realize that they were playing the sons of the original guy.
Me neither. Yeah.
Until they showed the gallery on the wall. And then I was like, oh, that actually could be genius.
Yeah.
So Liam Neeson is Leslie Nielsen's son, Frank Drebin's son in this. And Paul Walter Hauser is, what's the guy's, Ed Hockney, I think the guy's name is, is his son. I totally missed that until they revealed it. But the scene felt very like of a piece, like the silliness of it, the way he plays it straight, and then he's in the kilt, and then I'm sorry, I say the thing about the last scene in the trailer. I was like, they're wrong for going here, and it's hilarious.
That's why I'm telling you, man. This is going to be one of those things that sparks that next series of movies for the Naked Gun. And it's going to be, again, a thing that people go see to escape and laugh hard. And this movie's going to do it. I thought McFarlane was directing it. He's actually just producing it. But I believe I remember the story being that he approached Liam Neeson about this, and Liam Neeson, he was like, okay, this was just a new direction, something he had never done before, and I guess was down to try it out, and this is the result. And I've been saying ever since it was announced, ever since it was mentioned, because when this was mentioned, nothing had been done yet. This was just a rumor, and I said yes.
So you're right. So McFarlane is lending sort of producing chops, and I think he probably had a hand in getting this off the ground. This is sort of it's coming out of the SNL universe. So Akiva Schaffer, who's the writer and director, he sort of grew up in the SNL family, writing for them. He got a close relationship with like Andy Samberg, among other people. So this is really like a big leap for him from a directorial standpoint. So a little bit of an unproven there, but I mean, I know that Neeson has this in him because we saw him do a little bit of this in the A-Team remake, I thought. And so when I saw him doing it, I was like, oh yeah, he's selling it pretty good. And I think a lot of this movie does depend on, can he recreate a Nielsen vibe without being Nielsen, or not, or coming across as I'm trying to imitate Leslie Nielsen, which is nigh impossible. But I think it's a pretty good pitch. Like, this is a teaser. It's only about 70 seconds, 80 seconds. It's a pretty good hook. And they don't really show Pamela Anderson, who's sort of the co-lead of this movie. There's some other good, Danny Houston, good quality actors, CCH Pounder, Busta Rhymes is in this. There's like other people that they've held back that I'm just like, now I want to know what they're doing. And you said this again, this is not $1 billion club type of movie. It's more about the buzz and the vibe and the genre. So when you touch a classic, I'm always nervous, right? But this actually looks pretty entertaining. I was like, yeah, I might have to go see this.
All I imagined was Liam Neeson still being Liam Neeson, but saying these weird lines and looking clueless. in these situations, and clueless and confident, but he's saying these lines in these situations, and it just works, right? So we'll get to see what that looks like, and we already got a glimpse of where this is heading and how far they're going to go with some of these jokes, possibly. And I think it's just going to be hilarious, man. I think it's going to be a hit. I think it's going to be a hit.
And you're right, comedy's hard. So if these days comedy's hard, and so if they can harness that, there is definitely a market for it. And I was, it's been a minute since I was trying to think of not like
that. Oh, that part is just hilarious, man.
And I said that dude shaking his head is going to be how many of our shows will we disapprove of something? The guy looking at the camera, I was like, this is it right here.
Oh snap, man! Oh snap!
So you're right. It's been a minute since we've had the all corners, all hands on deck comedy that got everyone. We've had some well-reviewed comedies that haven't done huge box office, but I was trying to think is it like The Hangover, Bridesmaids? What is the last time that we had a must-see, go to the theater comedy that made $400 million? It's been a while, because it's gotten so hard to tell jokes without getting in trouble. And so I think that's the marker for this, right? So can you get to that 300, 400 type million level and people are like, oh my God, this was hilarious. I can't wait for Naked Gun 2.5, the remake, or whatever they're going to do next, 2.25. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, it is going to be an event, and people are going to be talking about this, and this is going to make quite a bit of money. I wonder what the budget for this will be. I think the first Naked Gun was 12 million or something like that, or 20. They made 150.
I guarantee you it's not going to be that high. I mean, it's not like an effects type of deal, right? So yeah, I'm actually going to try to look that up while we're looking. But we talked about it before. They also have it in the perfect slot in the calendar, to my mind. It's first weekend of August. It's right after the big IP. It's you've been blockbustered to the moon for 3 months, basically, from Thunderbolts to Fantastic Four. Those 3 months, you've been blockbuster, and we got, as you said, hopefully an irreverent, turn your mind off and laugh with your friends comedy. That can hit. I was shocked you had it number one, but I'm not arguing with your premise of how it can be a breath of fresh air at the movies.
I cannot wait. Was years of excitement being built up, and now the moment is finally here. Yeah.
By the way, you imagine if let's say Neeson pulls this off and it's a big hit. Has there been an actor who's pulled off the reinventions he's done? So remember how he had a great career coming off of Rob Roy, a dramatic actor, and then he does Taken. And ever since he did Taken, he's been an action guy. You could put Liam Neeson in any action movie, and he kind of had a Charles Bronson type of run in his later years.
Was he in Darkman?
Oh, that's back in the day. Yeah, he was in Darkman in 1990. That's early Neeson. Yeah, Rob Roy was he got nominated for an Oscar. That was 2-3 years later, 92, 93, somewhere around there. But yeah, he was Darkman in 90.
Yeah.
But he does Taken in 08, and ever since then, he's doing 1 or 2 action movies a year that are low budget, make some money. As I said, kind of Bronson-esque. You imagine if he pulls this off in his 70s and becomes a comedy guy, a go-to comedy guy in the twilight of his career? What a run if that happens.
Yeah. And other people have done it before too, in terms of being an action guy and then turning into a comedy guy with Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? There was sort of a hybrid with Tango and Cash with Stallone, and then he tried some other ones, which I think, not if you look it up, he was tricked into doing Throw Mama Off the Train or something like that. Not Throw Mama Off the Train, Stop When My Mom Will Shoot.
But those transitions have been awkward generally, right? So the only one I can think of who made that kind of a transition and made a lot of money in the process was De Niro. So when De Niro went to Analyze This and Meet the Parents, right? He went from being super serious auteur actor, and all of a sudden he's making big box office being a caricature of himself for the next however many years. And then that got old. And this would be a a third phase, right? It was like serious actor, action guy, like big hit action guy to like comedy guy, the comedy remake guy.
yeah.
Like I did not see that coming for Liam Neeson. And we know he's always been mentor guy, right? You need a mentor in a movie. You just call that guy up.
Yeah, as soon as this was announced years ago, I was like, yes, I'm there for it. And now we're almost here, and it's looking to be quite a hit when it does come out. Let me just read some of these things off. And these are social media people talking about their reaction. I'll just say one, and then Brian, you can sort of give us the news roundup in terms of what's been going on in terms of the buzz for this movie. But one dude says, "Oh my God, Masters of the Universe looks heavenly. He-Man fans are going to eat this up. I'm going to say it again. $1 billion. Guaranteed." Go ahead.
I have the box office power.
Word up. Word up. That's going to be, I have the power. That's going to be the thumbnail for all of that stuff.
Look, they showed footage at CinemaCon. They're not releasing it to the public, so good luck finding it. They have kept this thing airtight ever since. But here's what you need to know, because it's the only thing that matters, is they showed Eternia, and they showed He-Man, like Nicholas Galitzine in supposedly the classic He-Man getup. And supposedly it looks good. Like it looks really good. It looks believable. It looks expensive, and it doesn't look silly. And if that's true, then Travis Knight is like the wizard, because that's impossible.
I gotta read one more, and then have you go again. We just got a first look at Masters of the Universe movie, and to say we're wowed is an understatement. The costumes and the set pieces all look incredibly faithful to the toys and to the production, and the production design is top notch. Travis Knight seems to have cracked the code. I mean, you're saying everything, Brian, but that people are saying without having.
But think about that. Incredibly faithful to the toy line. That's impossible that could look serious and look good. Like that is literally like degree of difficulty 12.
If you go back to our previous shows, we have said how horrible He-Man, the cartoon, is. I tried to watch it to get back to nostalgia. I was like, what the hell did they let us watch when we were kids? This is not good. And good luck. And the fact that they're making this, because the one after that I liked much, much more. The one that they did on Fox. They did much later. It was an updated version. He showed up. He had a hood over his. It looked dope. I liked that one. I didn't like the Kevin Smith one. I didn't like that one for all sorts of reasons. And if you've been watching our shows, you know why. Outside of that, and obviously we got the Dolph Lundgren where he rushes the "I have the power," like it didn't mean anything when he said it. So now we're getting a faithful interpretation, and it's gonna.
That's the funny thing, right? So the Lundgren adaptation comes out while the toys are still hot and the cartoon is fresh in the mind. And it's amazing to me that in 1985, they didn't think enough of the show to do a faithful adaptation of the toys, right? They changed everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
In 1985, they didn't think they could do it. So 40 years later, here comes Travis Knight saying, you know what? I'm going the other way. I'm going to lean into the actual authenticity of this and try to do it for real. And the thing is, what they showed at CinemaCon that I thought was smart when I heard the description was they really didn't try to give away the story that much. What they focused on was the visual, because they know people out there are like, what? So they showed a sizzle reel basically of the sets, which are real sets. They built real sets for this. They built freaking Eternia for this. and they showed us
What did we say?
characters in costume. Like, so you got to see like the toy line brought to life, but people were like, these look good. Like Jared Leto as Skeletor looks good. Like Galitzine, they said they showed Galitzine flexing and training in the battle costume, and people were like, holy crap, he's He-Man.
Shows off characters in costume and looks gorgeous and accurate in epic fashion. The sword is perfect. Sets are breathtaking. Eternia is a huge focus. Ryan, I said a long time ago that Eternia it can't be on Earth, even though we're getting this set piece where I guess we're on Earth, right? But we said Eternia has to be involved, and it is a huge focus. And I think we discussed that aspect of it. But I also said, if you want me to buy into Eternia has to look dope, and it has to remind you of Pandora. Not remind you of, but remind you of that world, this world you've never been to. It has to be that.
You need to be teleported. Yes. You can't feel like you're in. You can't feel like you're in the British countryside, even though it's shot in the UK. This is another planet in another time. Like there's no, and when I heard the Earth thing, I had the same reaction you did. But like when I heard of how they were doing it, Matrix style, I kind of bought in a little bit as long as it's not too much of the film.
Yeah.
Like, the original Masters of the Universe, they kept going back and forth, right? That was sort of the real silliness, was that like, okay, you're going to suck in Courtney Cox from the real world, but then like, we're going to go back to the real world. Then we're going to go back to each other. Like, come on, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do one, he's trapped in his own mind and we're going to transport him to his actual roots and reality. Fine. We can do that once, just like we did in the Matrix, and we're all good. But Amazon's not playing around, man. And they clearly have the finger on the pulse. They knew exactly what the doubts were. They went to CinemaCon and said, we're going to actually hit right at the root of what you want to know without telling you anything really about this. And now they got people walking out of that event being like, give me a trailer, give me more, give me something, He-Man. Oh. And I got to admit, the second I read this, now, not as good a director, which does make a difference, but it did increase my excitement for Voltron too, because it's in the same house running it.
That's what I was just going to say. Like, if you're excited for this, Voltron is another one that's going to be, because regardless of the director that you get, the directive is you gotta like you said, transport us to this place. We gotta stay faithful to what was. And they're doing it with He-Man. And the code is remaining faithful and giving us a good story. Make us believe we are there and watching this unfold. That's the code. Not these other people that come in and say, oh, I don't like this. I'm going to change this. I'm going to change that. I'm going to give you my interpretation. No. So get ready. I can't wait to do my Bob Backlund pat on the back for He-Man, for Naked Gun.
It's clear this was the surprise of the event, right? And people went to CinemaCon, anticipation high for Superman, anticipation high for Fantastic Four. And again, we got delivery on most of those. There's interesting stuff on most of those. But this was the one I think that people went in doubting, questioning, wondering, and walked out buzzing. And that's the best place to be sometimes as a project.
I mean, again, if you've been watching our show, you know that we've been high on the possibility of what He-Man can be, doubtful of whether they can pull it off. But that is slowly dissipating into excitement beyond, because again, all I keep seeing in my brain is I have the power, by the power of Grayskull, transforming Cringer. How are they going to make that look and sound, Brian? that is the key to the experience of going to the movies, and people will pay to go over and over and over again. I'm saying $1 billion, but it can be so much more, I think.
Well, they made it, I think they also show with the scale and the scope, they are making it a theatrical event. They're proving that this is something you have to go to the theater to see, which I think Amazon is clearly the one studio that's really pushing in that direction, trying to go from streamer to big screen force. And that's how you do it. You gotta make these look like that.
And this is going to be a PG-13.
Oh yeah, this especially did an R-rated He-Man. Oh my god.
Yeah,
but no, this will be a PG to PG-13. I think PG-13 probably just because the violence and stuff. But I don't think they'll show like a lot of real blood or whatever, and, that sort of thing. But yeah, I was actually disappointed because Jared Leto was on hand to promote Tron Ares for Disney. I wanted somebody to ask him a question about when you got this script. Because, like, look at all the people that joined, right? Like, when you got this script, like, admit it, you thought this was a non-starter when you saw the cover. What is it when you started reading that you were like, yes, I have to do this?
Top 5 question right there. Yeah, this is going to be... Oh, anyway. Let us know in the comment section below what you guys think of so far of what you've heard about He-Man, and what do you believe in the success of Naked Gun, and what this could start in terms of a series of Naked Guns after this movie? Are you excited to go see this movie? Let us know in the comment section below. Hit that like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the Nerd Gen Report.